Harihi Om Shruti Smruti Puranamalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Om Namo Bhagavate Ramanaya Bheda Bhavanat Sohamityasau Bhavana Bhida Pavani Mata. So this word bhavana is interesting. It is in Napumsakalinga, bhavanam, bhavanat. It is in Strilinga, bhavana. Both ways it is there. So the feeling, bhavana is feeling. The feeling of division. Bheda bhavanam. So the feeling of division. So why we live in such a fragmentation? Division is another name for fragmentation. You see, there is fragmentation in our lives, in thinking. Like when we look at life, we look at it in a fragmentary way. This is what I was saying yesterday. We divide life into bits and pieces. We do not look at it as an organic whole. We divide it into bits and pieces. Like, suppose you have a tiff with the spouse, suppose, the husband and wife, there is a tiff, some conflict. So you look at it in isolation. So other aspects of life are fine, but only this is a small problem that has to be set right. Like that you look at it in isolation. Already you are making a mistake, because the tiff with the spouse, it just happened in isolation. It is an integral part of your entire life. The way you are leading a life contributes to the tiff. All of it contributes to the tiff, to the conflict. So you have to look at yourself, what kind of a life you are leading. Suppose you are a boss, you are a businessman or an employer, and in the office you are very cruel and very dominating and competitive and ambitious and exploitative. That is what you are. Then that also contributes to the conflict with the wife or children. The general nature with which you are living contributes to the conflict. So you consider all that is perfect, it is working all right, presently it is working, therefore every aspect of life is fine, only one small aspect of life is not working properly, and that is my relation with my spouse or my relation with my son. Now what could be the reason? The reason could be the Mars is looking at Venus in a very crooked way. Somebody is there to say that. Look at that. Somebody is always there to supply that kind of a reason. That's why your wife, every other planet is doing fine. Only two planets are misbehaving. That's why this wife relationship is getting disturbed. Everything else is good. Business is going well. Money is coming. Everything is good. Only this is not going well. Therefore, Venus must be involved. Because Venus is the planet of love. Something like that. I am just imagining to be happy. So this kind of a fragmentary thinking, this contributes to the division, the Bheda Bhavanam, in multiple ways. So I suggest, why fragmentary thinking? Because you take yourself to be the me, the person. And so keeping that aspect intact, you don't want to change that, don't address that. But now you want to chant Soham. It doesn't work. Therefore, before you come to Soham, you must make the lifestyle proper, put it in good place, and this divisive thinking or fragmentary thinking should go away. So, you see, why the me has become so strong. So we see that a person is highly trained in Vedanta to such an extent that he is recognized as the scholar of Vedanta, and now he is teaching Vedanta also, but the me remains strong. In fact, it has become stronger because of this Vedanta. You see, I tell you, when you eat food, it is not digested. It leads to what is called dyspepsia, some disorder. When you study Vedanta and it doesn't get digested, it leads to a mental dyspepsia, which is called a very strong ego. That is the mental, people suffer from that mental dyspepsia. The Vedanta people, I tell you, take care. Because, you see, you imagine that you were born at a certain time and place. You imagine that you have a body and a name. This is your calamity. I can understand worldly people. I can understand the religious people also. Because nobody told them, Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Puranaha. Nobody told them that. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Nobody told them that. But what about us? We were told that on day one. Because you start Gita. Gita begins at 2:11. The Gita doesn't begin with 1:1. You have to come out of that mode also, another program. Go on doing, I have seen the teachers of Vedanta go on doing psychoanalysis of Arjuna and Sri Krishna in the chapter 1 and the chapter 2, 10, up to 1:1 to 2:10. They never give up. Shankara has given up long back. But we don't give up. Go on doing psychoanalysis, whether Arjuna is right or wrong, why he was like that, why he is like that. Arey but chodo bhai, Arjunasya shokamoho over. And now look at what Sri Krishna is saying. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha. That is how, that is almost immediately he says that. Therefore, you have to come out of this calamity. Number one, I was born at a, you keep the birth certificate in your pocket all the time. When in India they do that. The Janma Kundali, they say it. What is Kundala in that? In the sense that it is a circular graph, a circular, that is the Kundali, you know. Anything which is circular is called Kundala. There is a Brahma Sutra, Ahi Kundala Vat. So anyway, therefore that is Kundala. So you assume that you are born and at a certain time and place, and now now based on that you build an entire religion. So based on that, the family god, the caste god, Kula Daivam, and then the Grama Daivam, the village god, and you don't give up anything. All of that are brought into sannyas. What is then given up in sannyas? What is given up? Nothing is given up. Therefore, you have to give up all this bheda bhavanam, this divisive thinking, fragmentary thinking. You should give it up. In other words, it is like this: the fragmentary thinking and me go together. One reinforces the other. You give up one, the other is gone. Bheda bhavanam vihaya, bheda bhavanat. So, therefore, you have to understand this world of so many divisions. There is a world before me which is full of divisions. Now, that world, who made that world full of divisions? You made that world full of divisions. So, you are the source of the world in which you live. You are the ground of the world in which you live, and you are the source of the world in which you live. So, it is a jump from you, the aniti in you. You are the ground and source of the world in which you live, which amounts to saying you are giving reality to the picture on the screen. So when you see the picture on the screen, is it multiple or is it one? Important question. When you look at the picture as real, it is multiple. When you understand that the picture is unreal, it is one, the light. Very simple. Therefore, so you take the appearance for real. This is the grievous mistake that people do. They take the appearance for real, and it is the cause of all calamities in life. Presently, it causes this fragmentary thinking, bheda bhavanam, and keeping all the bhedas intact. You want to say soham. How can? It is not possible. They go together. That's why bheda bhavanat soham. Bheda bhavanam vihaya soham. So you see, you have to understand what about good and evil, the dharma, adharma. You should not get worked up about it. You should not. You live a clean life. That I am not saying anything about it. It is not about you living a clean life. It is not about that. It is about you getting worked up about the dharma and adharma in the world, the good and evil in the world. You see, there is a cow in the world and there is a rattlesnake in the world. You know that? That is how the world is. Is it perfect or not? Imperfect? The world has a cow and also has a rattlesnake. So is it imperfect? The imperfection is in your mind, not in the world. The rattlesnake is fine in its place, cow is fine in its place. Therefore, good and evil in themselves do not exist. So, therefore, you don't go into the Mimamsaka approach. Chodana lakshanortho dharmaha. Chodana lakshanorthaha adharmaha. The same sutra. They do like that, Vyakhyana, Saraswati. So Chodana lakshana, whatever is enjoyed, thou shalt do this is dharma, thou shalt not do this is adharma. Chodana in the second case means nishedha. In the first case, Chodana is vidhi. So dharma and adharma, they begin like that. That is the beginning. Now the world is divided into dharma and adharma. From then on, the Shastra moves forward. That is Purva Mimamsa. Now, Uttara Mimamsa is not continuity of a Purva Mimamsa. This I was saying in a Vedanta Sabha, where all the great scholars have assembled. I questioned, I raised a question. They don't answer anything. They don't answer any questions. The reason is they study from the book, and whatever questions are told in the book, they only know those questions, Purva Paksha. And whatever answers are given in the book, they only know those answers. But they are masters in that. That recycling, you know, Tambola recycling, they are masters in it. Master money, master. They don't need a book. Without book, I cannot move one step forward. I am tied to the book. They don't bother about the book. Everything is in the brain cells. But unhappily, nothing is here. So I asked him the question, how do you say? You see, Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. Is it the continuation? Is it continuation or is it a revolution? Is it a revolt? Uttara Mimamsa, is it a revolt against Purva Mimamsa or is it just a continuation? This discussion was there in the beginning of the Brahma Sutra. Ratna Prabhakara raised a Purva Paksha. You don't need Mimamsa, Brahma Mimamsa, Brahma Vicharaha Kartavyaha. Brahma Jignasa, Brahma Vicharah Kartavyaha, na Kartavyaha. Why? It is already done. Mimamsa is already done. So, Athato Dharma Jignasa. There it is done, Dharma Mimamsa. And the Vedanta is included in the Dharma. There, Athato Adharma Mimamsa also. It is included. So, you don't need it. Don't start. That is the Purva Paksha. But then the answer is, it is not included. It is not continuity. If it is continuity, it will be done there only. It is a revolution. Therefore, so you have to go beyond dharma and adharma, good and evil. When you look at the world, I ask you a question. When you look at the world, does it appear perfect or imperfect? If it appears imperfect to you, that is your fragmentary thinking is in place. The fact is the world is perfect. Always remember the rattlesnake versus the cow. The world is perfect. Then why does it appear imperfect to me? Because there is something missing in your way, the way you see the world. World is perfect. Do you know this? The substratum of the world is subtle. And therefore, when you are looking at the world, you are looking at subtle. Therefore, there is no death in the world. Death is an aberration which exists in your head. There is no death in the world. Negative entropy versus positive entropy. So negative entropy is life, negative entropy becomes zero entropy, and positive entropy begins, that is death. Both are part and parcel. As entropy, it is still entropy only. Don't worry. Okay, just because some thermodynamics, So those who know it, others just don't worry, leave it. Because you are not going to know it now. Okay, you should have some training for entropy, not now. Okay, therefore there is no death in the world. You know why? The substratum of the world is subtle. There is no ajnana in the world, ajnana or imperfection in the world. There is no ajnana or imperfection in the world because the substratum of the world is chitta, and there is no dukkha in the world because the substratum of the world is ananda. But you experience or you see death, you see ignorance, you see sorrow in the world. That is you have to reorganize your thinking. Anyway, so to outgrow the divisions of the world is necessary. So you have to leave behind the good for the better. That is necessary. So to grow into Vedanta, there must be a revolt in your heart. To grow into Vedanta, you should leave the Mimamsaka divisive thinking behind. You have to do that. I say Sri Krishna is a revolt. You look at if you look at Gita Bhashya, it is an all-out attack against Purva Mimamsa. If you look at Shankara, he is a revolt. He has just taken Bhartru Prapanchacharya, who was regarded as the authority on Upanishads and scriptures till that date, torn into pieces with due respect, without naming, Kechit. That is Atra Kechit, that is Bhartru Prapanchacharya, Bheda Bhedavadi. He was just refuted everywhere. That is Shankara. That's why we remember Shankara. If Shankara followed Bhartru Prapanchacharya, you will not know who is Shankara. Therefore, you should not be a follower. There must be revolt in your heart. There must be a revolution in your heart. In the timeless reality, all is perfect. All is here. And all is now. That is the timeless reality, Satchidananda. So I see no sinners, no saints. I mean, the opposites I see, I don't see. I see only one Atma, which is ever liberated. Or I see only living beings. Sadhushvapicha papeshu samabuddhir vishishyate. So this is how you have to rise above the Shatru Mitra. Shatru Mitra, it sounds like a value. You have to rise above friend and foe. It sounds like a value, but I would say it is much more than a value. You have to go beyond the saint and sinner. Sadhu is a saint. Papi, Papa, Sadhushvapicha Papeshu, Papaha Syasti Papaha. So Papi Ityarthaha is a sinner. You rise above that also. It is not a value. It is rising above the very fragmentary thinking which is there, which is rooted in the heart, in the thinking. So this is how the Bheda Bhavana has to be overcome. I suggest you look at yourself and examine yourself. I only suggest. It is for you to think. I suggest that you are wrapped up in a world that is entirely the makeup of your own mind, that is entirely made by your own mind. You are wrapped up in that world. That includes your Vedanta, that includes your religion, your sect, your culture, your tradition, all that includes your guru or gurus, all of that is included in that world which is made by the mind, and you are entirely wrapped up in that world. And that's why you end up in fragmentary thinking, and therefore the soham becomes a bit difficult. So you have to overcome some of these obstacles to arrive into soham. That's why Ajyadharaya Srotasasana Sarala Chintana Virala Taf Param. So the Saguna Upasana was told first, and then comes the next one. So therefore you have to prepare for yourself. Now you are looking at the world. Okay. Now what is your assessment of the world? Is it permanent? I hope not. Okay. I hope you won't say Nityam or whatever. Okay. Then I ask you one more question, which you have to think. You say it is not permanent because you are trained to say that. It is a training. You are a student of Vedanta. You are supposed to say, is the world permanent? You are supposed to say no. Therefore you say no. It's okay. Good, at least good beginning. Good beginning. You do not say wholeheartedly, because something is pulling. So you have to put it into a language where you beat on the molehill or the anthill, but the serpent doesn't die. You have to put it into such a very crafty language. So saditi nirvaktum na shakyate, asaditi nirvaktum na shakyate, sadasiditi va nirvaktum na shakyate. So like that you put in such a very complex language, which the speaker also doesn't make any sense to the speaker. Much sense it doesn't make, and it doesn't make any sense to the student in any case, but they are all accustomed to repeat the same thing. Okay, maybe I am a bit exaggerating, but see whether there is some meaning in what I am saying. This kind of a recycling effort it is. Always recycling, repeating, imitating doesn't help. You have to examine what is this world. Kya rakha hai duniya mein? You have to examine it. Of course, naturally we suggest it is not permanent. That is the easy part of it. Then I am coming to the a little more difficult part of it. Do you think the world is continuous? Huh? So that is what you are saying. I have yet to come across a Vedantin who doesn't speak about world in terms of continuity. You assume that it is continuous. Is the world continuous? You ask any quantum physicist, he knows better than a Vedantin. Really? The world is continuous or discontinuous? I pour pebbles from above. The pebbles are falling. That pebbles falling, is it continuous or discontinuous? Discontinuous. I pour sand. Now? I pour water. Now? Discontinuous. I focus a torch light, a pencil of light. Now? Discontinuous. They got the right answer. I was looking into their faces and no answer correctly. Then so, you are watching, one more question, you are watching the movie. Is it continuous or discontinuous? Discontinuous. But appears continuous, but it is discontinuous. Why don't you realize that? The world is not continuous. It is discontinuous. You know how? You know what? You are creating and recreating moment by moment. That is what the world is. It is not enough to say Drishti Srishtivada. You have to understand the intricacies of Drishti Srishtivada also. So, when you are watching a movie, it is not continuous, it is discontinuous. Some 16 or 20 frames appear and they are focused, they are projected, and then there is a blank, another frame, blank, another frame, blank. You don't see the blanks because they are too short. And you see the frames, but not as separate frames. You see the continuity. This is how Thomas Alva Edison discovered a movie camera. He draw one lady dancing in different pictures, got them drawn and bound them into, on cards, bound them into a book, and then looked like this. Like that he looked. Then he saw a dance. But when he looked like this, no dance, only some static figure. But when he looked like this, there is a dance going on. He said, here is something. Then he found the frequency, and he put a film there and asked somebody to rotate, and he was focusing the light and saw a dance on the screen. A movie camera was discovered by Thomas Alva Edison. So world is not continuous. Therefore, Athavainam Nityajatam, that Athava you should not forget. Earlier birth, later birth, this birth, karma, karma phala. And you must have studied Mandukya, I hope. Hetuhu phalam. This hetu becomes phalam, phalam becomes hetu. So karma gave phalam, and phalam becomes karma again. Karma gave this body, and so body is phalam. But then body creates karma. Now whether body is phalam or hetu. So he puts you into a complex situation and he knocks off this idea of hetu phala. So hetu phala means continuity. So you assume that the world is continuous. So that's why the earlier birth, later birth, the present birth, the karma, this karma, that karma, karma, karma phalam, all these arguments, the earlier birth, later birth is very provisional. It is a model for some reason. And then karma, karma phala is a model to understand yourself much better than what you know as of now. These are all models. You should not take them to heart. The truth is verse number 211, Gita, 211 to 230, that is called Sankhya. Etat te kathitam Sankhyam. Sankhyam is Jnanam. That is what it is. You don't have this continuity in that. And therefore, the world is not continuous. It is neither permanent nor continuous. It is created moment by moment. And the basis for the world is misapprehension, avidya, misapprehension. Avidya also, you give it a very high sounding name and put it aside. There is nothing to be done about it. Avidya, Bhagavan ke maya hai. Bhagavan ki maya hai now. Now what about you? I am fine. No, you are in Maya. I am supposed to be in Maya and I am in Maya, that is fine too. So, not like that. The world is based on your misapprehension. So, all the divisions are like that. Therefore, you have to give up the divisive thinking. Bheda bhavanam vihaya soham. So, you have to come to the soham. So, you see, why soham? Why not aham shivam dhyayami? Why not? Why you want to merge Shiva into Atma? So why not have Saguna? You see, there is an issue there. You see, if you look at Upanishads, if you take the Upanishads, a general view of the Upanishads, so not 108 Upanishads, I tell you. They are all later additions and very unacceptable. So not 108 Upanishads. Some standard Upanishads are there. Go by what Shankara says. And if you look at those 10 Upanishads, in a general sense I am saying, they do not offer you a God to be worshipped outside of you. They don't offer. They don't. If you go to a Purana, it offers you a God to be worshipped outside as an image or whatever. Upanishads don't do that. And the Upanishads do not give any definitive, conclusive opinion about God. They leave the God, the unknown, as the unknown. Suppose you know the unknown. Suppose you know the unknown. That is a contradiction in itself. Because it is unknown and you know it, now it becomes known. Now it is not unknown anymore. Therefore it's a contradiction. Therefore the unknown is understood better by saying it is not only unknown but also unknowable. That makes it very clear. It's not some unknown that becomes known. It is unknown and unknowable. Then leave it there. Yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam. That is the reality which is offered to you. It doesn't offer you a particular God to be worshipped. An anthropomorphic God, Upanishads do not offer. Not only that, Upanishads, if you study them carefully, they seem to have a deep concern. The Upanishads, they have a deep concern to remove all traces of materiality and objectivity from the conception of God. So you see, a human being, he tries to conceive a God or visualize a God, then worship etc. will come later. You see, first you must have conceived a God, you must have come to some idea about the God, then only worship will come. So you may know the details of worship, or somebody else, the priest, will know the details of worship, but some conception of God you must have begun with. So the man's conception of God has two basic issues with it. That is materiality and objectivity. Objectivity taken in the right spirit. Because people use objectivity. For everything objectivity. Therefore now objectivity becomes a sacred cow. I am not using in that sense. Objectivity means it's being an object. In that sense I am using. So somebody said, I have a lot of objectivity, Swamiji. A young lady told me. Okay, good. So shall I explain? Please explain. So you look at this diamond necklace, and if you carefully look at the neck, the diamond necklace just fits correctly to the neck. And the neckline and the necklace chosen by me, it is kind of hand in glove, perfect fit. And then you look at the gemstones and the pendant in the center, how perfectly balanced they are. I have a lot of objectivity in selecting my diamond necklace. Now, is that the objectivity you are talking about? So, don't convert it into some samsaric thing, okay? Objectivity means it is a thing other than you. That is the objective. You are the subject. You assume that me is the subject. Me is not the subject. I will come to that. But the objectivity. So the God is an object of your understanding. You are the subject and God is the object. That is objectivity. In the man's conception of God, so the problem of God is, there is the problem of objectivity in that conception of God. And then whatever is object for the subject, it becomes materiality. When you give a form to the God, so you see there are problems there. You have to put the certain laws in place. Number one, whatever begins in time, ends in time. Law one. How many laws? Newton's laws, how many? 3. Now I will give you 3 laws of Vedanta. They are as precise as any physical or mathematical laws. Number one, whatever begins in time ends in time. Okay, number one. Number two, whatever begins and ends in time is not real. Is not real. Okay. Third, whatever begins and ends in time and therefore not real is not continuous, it is only momentary. This is Vijnanavada. Really? Vijnanavada it is Kshanika. It is momentary. Vijnanavada adopted by Acharyas, Advaita Acharyas. It is momentary. 3 laws I have said. Now 4th law. Whatever is limited in shape or in space is limited in time. You can as well make this law first and push the other laws down, either way. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 laws. Now you have a God who has a shape. And so you have brought in so the objectivity, the materiality, and hence so impermanence to the conception of God. And the Upanishads are very much concerned about this objectivity and materiality resulting in impermanence of God. That's why the Upanishads do not present a God that corresponds to the man's conception of God. They do not present such a God. They present the God as the unknown and unknowable, and also as the innermost reality of every human being. That is how they present. The entire presentation of Upanishads is different from the man's conception of God. And therefore, the Upanishads presentation of God you have to understand. So, and then in this way, Upanishad strives to eliminate impermanence, objectivity, materiality from that reality which you call God, Brahman. And thereby, Upanishads give a living God to the humankind. They give a living God. In place of an anthropomorphic conception, Upanishads give the living God. And that living God is the eternal, meaning timeless, not continuous, timeless. It is trapped, you know. It will go. It will take its time and it will go. It is a sermon from God. Oh Swami, you keep quiet. That is the sermon. Put an end to this sermon. That sermon. Really. I am imitating.
We should turn off the light for a second. Lights off just a minute.
Maybe we should put off the light so that it will go happily.
Look at the light. Lights? No. Yeah, turn the light then it will go.
Or we can conclude the class soon and go back and then keep the doors open, it will go by itself. I'll tell you an anecdote. So the anecdote is the priest, it's an anecdote from Christianity. The priest came to the pulpit to begin the sermon. The pulpit, there was a window near the pulpit, like just now here. And then a bird came and rested on that outside the window pane, or that door of the window, or the lintel, what they call, on that it rested. So the priest noticed, and the entire congregation also noticed. And then there it sat, and then it made a cooing sound, coo, 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 like that. And then everybody heard that. Then the priest said, "Today's sermon is over." And he walked away. See? That is the sermon. Shakespeare said, "Trees have tongues. When you are haunted by adversity in life, and you remove yourself from the people and put yourself in solitude. I am paraphrasing. They are not exact words of Shakespeare. Some of them are exact words. When you remove yourself and repair to the solitude, then you are in the nature all by yourself. Then there are tongues in the trees. I see tongues in the trees, and I see books in the brooks. Like that he says. So when you listen to a bird chirping or singing, with full attention you have to live. Well, listen, full attention, without the me there. When me is there, there is no attention. When attention is there, there is no me. These are very critical things. First you accept it, don't resist, then you work out. I'm not going to come to your room and check whether you have accepted what all I said earlier. So, therefore, when you listen with full attention, there is no division anymore. And there is a silence within you. And that silence has a truth in it. Therefore, don't get hung on conceptual knowledge. There is a knowledge much superior to it, beyond the conceptual knowledge. The conceptual knowledge has only one purpose, to hint at that reality which cannot be described in words. The conceptual knowledge, or you call the Shastra, takes you to the very frontier of knowledge and leaves you there. And from there you go beyond the frontier of knowledge and you are into the embrace of the real. You have to go like that. Therefore, so this is topic I started. The Upanishads give us a living God in place of an anthropomorphic conception of God. And that living God is the eternal or timeless self of man. Now you say Soham. Saha is the God. You can, in that sense, you have to say Soham, in that sense. Okay? To be able to say Soham, Saha is the living God, not the God of objectivity and materiality, or the conceptual God. So you should understand God also appropriately in the context of Saha. And you have to understand Aham also correctly. So the Aham is not the person. The person, the persona that you take yourself to be is not the Aham. But Aham is the subject. The person is not the subject. It is not the subject at all. It is never the subject. The problem is, you see, they argue. You see, Swamiji, do I have will or not? Okay, suppose I say, really speaking, you don't have will. Now, who has come to the class? You have come to the class. You deliberated and came to the class. Therefore, I am a person with a will. Now, good. You deliberated and came to the class. To that extent, you are a person with a will. Now, you want to remain a person with the will? Class after class after class after class? Or is it possible to shake that situation and substitute it with an impersonal reality without this silly will? Is it possible or not? If it is not possible, then you can become a scholar of Vedanta but not a seer. You may become people are knowledgeable, no doubt about it. Not all, some of them. Knowledgeable, but knowledgeable is not the same as seer. Rishis are not knowledgeable people. Rishis are seers. They are not knowledgeable. So, I hope you have seen the distinction between the two. Therefore, the person is never the subject. Is never the subject. Because you can see the person. You can see the person in you. You can see the me in you. You can see the person that you imagine yourself to be in you. Therefore, the person is never the subject. It is always the object only. And you are not that person. You are Brahman. You are not that person. You see, I tell you what you are. You are Brahman, which at a certain point of time and space, at a certain point of time and space, appears as witness. That is what you are. Brahman is, this is Upanishadic Brahman. Brahman is Atma, and Atma is Sakala Buddhi Pratyaya Sakshi. That is Atma. Shankara, Kathopanishad, Katha. You see, if you read Katha properly, that is enough. If you don't read properly, even Mandukya cannot do anything to you. Really. So, Brahman, same as Atma. Atma cha Brahma, Shankara. Brahman is Atma. You see, we ask, what is Brahman? Brahman is Atma. Then it's okay, you shift the question. Then what is Atma? As if it is away from you. Sakala Buddhi Pratyaya Sakshi. Now you cannot get away from it, I tell you. Even if you try, you cannot get out from that. Sakala Buddhi Pratyaya Sakshi. That is the Atma. Therefore, Brahma, I would say, Brahman at a particular point of space, that is body, and time, that is the mind. You have to look at the body and mind as space and time. That is what they are. At a particular point of space and time, Brahman appears as the witness. And the person is never the subject. Person is always the object. And this witness is the bridge between the pure awareness, which is Brahman, and the manifold consciousness, which is the body-mind of the person. So manifold consciousness of the person and pure awareness of the Brahman, the witness is the bridge. And you stand at that bridge. Aham. Say Aham. That is the Aham. It is not the person. So be alert. The moment you are alert, the me is gone. You identify with the thought process, the me is there by habit. Allow the me to go. You have to, you see, you cannot contradict yourself all the time. So in the class, so you say me, you don't say no me. And so the moment you move a bit, shift from class situation to another situation, the me is there with all its force. You cannot contradict like that. In every situation, you have to handle it as if there is no me. Like somebody abuses me, suppose. You see, you have heard, so when someone slaps you on the right cheek, show him the left cheek. What does it mean? It means there is no me. If there is me, you cannot show the left cheek. There is no me. There is awareness. The person who said that is not a dumb guy. He is not a mad, he is not a crazy guy.